I have a problem, and that problem is I found a new addiction. Arkham Horror, the card game, the living card game. And yeah, this game has sort of taken over my life a little bit in terms of I've just constantly been thinking about it, wanting to play it. And I told myself that I would only get the core box and probably only the Dunwich cycle. And I have gotten those. I got the campaign expansion for Dunwich Legacy, and I also got the Investigator expansion for Dunwich Legacy, but I didn't keep the box for that one. But then I've already gone and gotten the Carcosa Investigator expansion. I'm probably going to get the campaign expansion, and I've already ordered a couple of standalone scenarios. Not only that, I've started sleeving my cards, and I've also gotten a bunch of coin capsules, you can see in the up right camera there, to protect my chaos tokens when I'm drawing from the bag. Plus, they just feel a lot better to play with. So it's starting to become a little bit of a problem. Now, I am definitely haven't gone all in yet. I probably won't go all in. I say that, but at least I probably won't go all in now. Maybe down the road I'll purchase more stuff. But as of now, this game has just been absolute blast to play, and I think the biggest reason for that is because of the deck construction and deck building aspect of it. So if you're unfamiliar with Arkham Horror card game, you can check out my last video. I do go over the basics in that video. However, there's plenty of other videos explaining how to play the game and sort of what the gist of it is, because it's been around for a very long time. I think about 6 or 7 years. And if you're unfamiliar with the game totally, it's by Fantasy Flight Games. It's designed by Nate French and MJ Newman. And it is a living card game, and there's some other ones as well. So like I believe there's a Game of Thrones one. Their other big one is the Lord of the Rings living card game. And the purpose of these is you essentially have a pre-constructed deck that you make ahead of a campaign, and you play through the campaign, constantly upgrading cards in your deck, and essentially, ultimately, at least in Arkham Horror, trying to fend off the enemies, or in this case Cthulhu, entities that are trying to essentially ruin the world. And so, as a living card game, they release not only the core box, of course, in the past, but they periodically release expansions for the game, and you get all the cards for that set in that expansion, and it's super easy. So it's not like a trading card game or a collectible card game where you're opening up booster packs and things like that. You know essentially what you're getting when you're purchasing these expansions, and you get everything for that cycle or that expansion. So yeah, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's a 1 to 4 player cooperative game. I've been doing it solo. I've also been playing with my girlfriend. We've been playing it co-op together, and it's been a lot of fun. It's actually really fun to see her get into the deck building aspect of things, because that's something that she's never really done before. And I'm definitely going to be introducing it to my wider play group to do a 4-player game probably this weekend. Maybe we'll take a little bit of a break from Aeon Trespass Odyssey, because the past 2 weekends we've done about 10 plus hours of Aeon Trespass Odyssey, and I think our brains are ready for a break with that game. And I will be planning out my solo campaign for that as well. I need to print off some more sheets and stuff. So, and a better way to organize it, because I want to find a system where it's going to be easy for me to go from my solo campaign to my friends and mine's campaign. But let's get back to Arkham Horror and why it's such an amazing game. So you can see I've gotten so many of the cards already. So these are all the cards that I've gotten so far, just from the core box, the Dunwich Legacy Investigator expansion, as well as the Carcosa Investigator expansion. I've got more coin capsules with all the rest of the tokens in it, and I also have sleeves that I think I'm gonna just have on hand for when people, when friends come over and stuff like that, they can sleeve their own deck and have their own color and stuff like that. I'm actually gonna go get some more sleeves today, probably from some more Dragon Shield clear sleeves, so I can sleeve up the encounter cards. Since the encounter cards, you do end up shuffling, and you do handle those a little bit more than like the scenario act cards or the just like the investigator card sheets, because I don't sleeve these ones either. But yeah, I have spent the past couple of nights just sort of sitting around looking at the cards and enjoying the deck building process. And I think the reason why I'm so addicted to this game now is because it's definitely bringing me back to my Magic the Gathering days. I was huge into Magic the Gathering, and I even just in the past year I've played a lot of Magic the Gathering Arena every once in a while, but just about a little over a year ago or a couple years ago, I sold off most of my paper collection because my play group and I just never ended up playing anymore. But I was always a Johnny. If you're familiar with that term, Johnny, Spike, and Timmy from the Magic the Gathering archetypes. And deck building is just something that I've always loved. Especially when it comes to Magic. Limited is one of my favorite formats, like drafting, because of the deck building aspect. And deck building was just so much fun. And this game definitely reminds me of that, without, as much complexity and as much needing to keep up on the rules and stuff like that, which is very, very nice. And so that's one of the reasons why I went and got ahead the Path to Carcosa expansion, and not getting the campaign cycle all in one go. I just wanted the investigators. I wanted more cards. I wanted more options, for when my girlfriend and I actually play through the Dunwich Legacy. It just gives us a little bit more freedom, as well. But it's super, super cool. And the best part is, like, there's so many possibilities. And that's sort of the thing that I was looking through when I was looking through all the cards, is like, I realized that, this is the deck of investigators. Now, granted, they're not all investigators. They each have their own weakness cards, which essentially are negative things that you add into your deck. And they all come as well with a unique, like, good card. Some unique thing that sort of represents them, as a person in the world, which is very, very cool. But the 16, from what I have so far, between the core set and the 2 investigator expansions I have so far. But they all have really, really cool abilities, and they just all feel so different, in sort of what cards they're able to use, but also the flavor text on them and sort of what their special abilities are. Like there's one really, really interesting one in here called Lola Hayes, which I don't think I'm going to use anytime soon because she seems really, really difficult to learn, at least as a newer player. But her cool ability is like this 5 different essentially classes in the game, or classes of investigators in the game. So you have like guardians, which are obviously like your fighters and protectors. You have seekers, who are sort of more intellect based and they're great at investigating. You got rogues, who are sort of a little bit of a mix of everything, but they can fight a little bit. They can also evade a lot. They can also make a lot of resources. You have mystics, which are essentially like your spellcasters, and then you have survivors, which are your I don't know what you would describe them as. Like, they're not really roguish, but they're just, well, it's in the name. They survive. They have extremely good evasion capabilities, and luck-based things, but they don't do well with fighting, obviously. But Lola Hayes is a class, for example, that can beat any class you want. So she actually has an ability that lets her switch between different archetypes, and you sort of have to choose when you build your deck what kind of cards to actually include to switch between. So stuff like that is just super, super cool. And this is maybe not even half of the total investigators out there, and that's not including like community made stuff or print and play things. So I can definitely see why this game has gotten such a loyal and large following, is that because there's so much you can explore in the game. And even though the scenarios you play, for the most part, are relatively static, like for some parts you do go through the same path and like that, but for the whole campaign, you do have different choices and things like that. So it's almost like having a new puzzle every single time you make a new deck when you approach a campaign or a scenario, because you have to approach it in a totally different way. And that's a very, very cool puzzle to try and solve. Not only that, I really, really love the way they do difficulty and luck in this game. Overall, it's a very difficult game. Even on easy difficulty is sort of like the normal, I guess, of this game. And even veterans say that, easy isn't really easy. But I love the chaos bag system. So this bag full of all these modifier tokens, that's what you use essentially when you are doing skill checks in the game, is you'll pull out of this bag, you'll pull a modifier that will affect your skill, and then you'll compare it to the DC or the skill check requirement. But the reason I really like this system is it makes it so customizable in how difficult or how easy you want to make it. They give you some recommendations in the campaign books and stuff like that about how many modifier tokens. Here are all the rest, by the way. They give you a bunch of different recommendations on like how many of -3 tokens should you add in for like easy, or how many -1s, so on and so forth. But even then, it's really, really cool that you're able to break that up and really just sort of make it whatever you want. If you're playing with like maybe someone who's younger, or maybe someone who doesn't really want like a super hard experience, you can just maybe take out the auto fail token, and or maybe you take out one of the -5s and maybe add in a 0 instead to make it a little bit easier. So it's very, very cool in that sense. So it's very, very much not like a static way for difficulty. I think it's a very, very smart way. I honestly wasn't super sold on it off the start because generally, especially as like someone who plays a lot of tabletop role-playing games, dice is always my favorite. I love rolling dice, the tactile feel of it, and just as a group, rolling dice and seeing sort of what people's results are. It's just a lot of fun. But when it comes to a system like this, it obviously makes it so much more customizable. And plus, with the coin castles, it actually does make it pretty tactile and fun to do. So yeah. But yeah, this is just like a general spiel video. A little bit of a rant video, but I did want to share my appreciation for this game. ACG, you're never gonna watch this. If you guys don't know ACG, who's a really, really big video game reviewer YouTuber, I've done some work with him before, and he actually told me about this game in an email, and so and it was one I always had my eye on, but I never jumped into it. And his talking about it and how much he loves the game pushed me over the edge. So Jeremy, if you're watching, this is all your fault. So yeah, I've been having a blast with this. You'll definitely see a lot of this on the channel, I think. And yeah, don't worry, there's still more stuff along the way. I actually have some really, really fun stuff coming, working with a couple of Kickstarters and GameFound things, hopefully in the next month or so. And yeah, if anyone knows of any games or has any Kickstarter or GameFound games that are actually interested in me covering, maybe send them my channel, or maybe let me know, and then I'll pitch to them myself, because I definitely love getting early looks at games, and I think I do cover games pretty well, hopefully, fingers crossed. I actually ended up seeing my name in a board game recommendations thread on the board game subreddit, which was a super, super cool feeling, and definitely increased my imposter syndrome. But that was super, super awesome to see my name alongside, Board Game Co., Quackalope, and a lot of the big players in the space, because I didn't expect a random person to be posting about me, which is very, very cool. But yeah, I just wanted to share my love for this game. I just want to make a quick video because I don't really have time to record an actual gameplay for this, but I will definitely be recording some more gameplays down the road. I think what I'm going to do as well is, like, I did just make a Zoe Samaras deck that I really want to try out. And so I think because the starting decks in the core box are really, really bad, I think I'm going to sort of restart my campaign playthrough, I guess, and maybe we'll just try a solo playthrough with Zoe, and see how that goes. So I might restart the core box. I might just jump right into Dunwich Legacy. I might start a totally new campaign. Who knows? But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, and yeah, also one thing I wanted to mention is just, if you do enjoy my videos, definitely check out some of my other ones. It definitely helps the channel a lot if you do check out other videos. You can check out, my Final Girl Let's Play. You can check out some of my thoughts on Aeon Trespass Odyssey so far, maybe the campaign update. If you haven't seen how my Friends and Mine's campaign is going, definitely check that out. Check that one out. I will have another update coming soon because, again, we did play another 10 hours or so this past weekend, and it was brutal. Let's just say some of those Faded Nemos cards can ruin your game. Let's just say that, because I'm very much not looking forward to our next session. But be on the lookout for that, and hope you enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.